So what you're telling us this morning, he's training on his own?
He's training away from the first team. He's been told. Simon, your thoughts on this? He won't be training with the first team.
My thoughts on it is that, he went out on loan to West Bromwich Albion. It's not Arsenal's job to supplement Everton, who are a rival of Arsenal's at this stage. And I know Arsenal are bottom of the league and Everton are doing far better, but in the season you'd expect Arsenal and Everton, given the current state of those two clubs, to be rivalling one another for place. It's not Arsenal's job to supplement Everton with a loan player, and it certainly isn't the player's right. You might think it's his prerogative to go out on social media and to effectively criticise the club in such a way that it brings himself into the fore as far as the media is concerned.
Yeah, but he's saying he's not wanted at the club.
But he has that conversation internally. He doesn't have it through social media. He doesn't have that right. It's not his gift. He's under contract. Under players' contracts, two things happen. One, you have to stick with your obligations, both club to player and player to club. And two, you don't criticise your club. You're not allowed to.
But he knows probably this morning he's not going to get anywhere fast by trying to get a meeting with anybody at the club.
Listen, two things that you need to be mindful of. Why isn't he in Arsenal's team? Because the team stinks right now, so you have to look at himself as the reason why he's in Arsenal's team, because his performances last year at West Brom didn't pull up any trees. And secondly, you are a professional footballer. It's not your gift to go out there and criticise or to make observations about the club that you're currently playing for, because that puts you in a position where you're at odds with the club. If it was me, I'd fine him. I'd fine him 2 weeks' wages and say, now you're definitely staying.
What, for the Instagram post?
Yeah, because it's bringing the club into disrepute. It's criticising the club. The club is at a very fractious position right now, with players left, right and centre underperforming, the manager under pressure. The last thing you need to see is a player coming out making observations about how he's not loved at the club.
So you'd make him stay, even though he doesn't want to stay?
I would make him stay unless there was a reason for me transferring him or loaning him out. And it certainly wouldn't be to help Everton. It's not my job to help Everton.
Arteta wants 5 or 6 out today, but one of them doesn't seem to be Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Right. Bellerin's gone.
So that contradicts the idea that he's not loved. What the player wants is the atypical scenario of I want what I want when I want it, and it suits me and it suits me only.
But he's not happy, Simon. What's the point in keeping an unhappy player? And you'd fine him. That's going to make him really happy.
I would fine him because they need to understand that they are the sum of a part, and that part is a football club who they're an employee of, and they need to do as they're told. They're not the football club. They're not more important than Arsenal Football Club. He's under contract. He does as he's told.
Yeah, he's trying to force a move. And he's probably getting advice to attempt to do that on Instagram.
If Everton walk into Arsenal and say, I'll tell you what, we'll buy Ainsley Maitland-Niles for 20 million quid, maybe Arsenal will sell him. They want him on loan. They want him on other people's dime. Why would you loan a player to Everton? They've already done them favours on Iwobi and Theo Walcott in the past, if Everton consider those favours.
Yeah.
But in this instance, a player cannot use the media or the social media to make an observation in such a way that kind of brings the focus back onto the club about how they look after their players, how undervalued they are, how the currency of players isn't looked after. No. Sorry.
We sat on deadline day last January. Maitland-Niles linked with Southampton, with Leicester, ended up at West Brom. Mm-hmm. Now on deadline day this summer, being linked with a move potentially to Everton, likely end up at Arsenal. Maitland-Niles just needs to focus on his own performances, I think.
That's right.
But you would think, in spite of what Longshank says here, Dan, he's already it's been flagged up to him that he's not wanted at Arsenal. So he may as well.
But that's not true.
To manoeuvre behind the scenes.
But that's a direct contradiction.
Well, why would you put that out on Instagram?
Well, I don't know, because he's self-centred and focusing on what he wants. But if he wasn't wanted, if Arsenal want to move 6 players out, as is being suggested, why wouldn't he be one of them? Because ultimately, clearly, Arsenal might want him, or the particular deal that Everton are offering doesn't suit Arsenal.
But when a player hasn't been in a club's plans for a year, Simon,
right?
The indications are the club pretty much doesn't want him.
Well, that's not necessarily so, because Jesse Lingard hasn't been in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans for quite some time.
Well,
Becky's in the fold.
That might not be dead yet. We'll see if anything happens on that front anyway. But what you're saying is you'd have Maitland-Niles in this morning and say, good morning, Ainsley, I'm finding you.
Yeah, do as you're told, young man. Respect the environment that you're in. You're on our salary, you're on our contract, we've got an obligation to you and you to us. We won't run out saying that you've been crap in training all week, so you don't start telling people who doesn't love you.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.